Welcome back to Texas Tiger Tavern, the show that demystifies the world of drinking and hopefully shows you something new to drink. I'm your host, Jenny, and we're with Matt.
The co-host.
Sometimes.
I'm here. Sometimes.
But for today's episode, we have a sidecar for you. The thing that we're going to do for this episode to make it a little special...
Special.
...is that we have three versions of the sidecar. And the sidecar is basically cognac, orange liqueur, lime juice, salted rim, and an orange twist. We have three different cognacs.
We do have three different cognacs.
So this is kind of a taste test. We're going to try to squeeze it into 30 minutes. But, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Matthew has a cowboy hat on.
Yeah!
And it's bringing out my Texan, I guess.
I did it just for my best friend.
Which one should we start off first?
So I think we should start out with the Celt Tour de Monde.
No, jeez.
Monde. M-O-N-D-E. Monde. It's a rare V-sop. We don't actually have the bottle. This is a used or a rented tasting.
We have to give it back.
I'm gonna have to puke this up later. We're gonna cut this out because nobody wants to listen to puke.
But that brings up a great point, is having friends that also drink. You can borrow or taste or share their stuff with your stuff.
Yeah.
And we had the privilege of
borrowing from my uncle, Andy, who Jenny talked about a while back in another episode.
And he let us use two different cognacs that he had, and I also went to BenQ and tried to get a cognac. While I personally don't see the use to have cognac just in my arsenal.
Especially when you're not using it.
Yes.
Which we've expressed a few times or Jenny's expressed, and when I've shown up, we've expressed, you don't need to buy stuff that you don't like just to have it.
Yeah.
Get those small bottles like we have. Actually, we got one of those today.
This is
one of the tastings.
But we're talking about the kettle right now.
We're talking about the kettle.
The
Celt.
The Celt.
The kettle.
First sip of the drink. First sip of the podcast.
I'm taking a shot instead. Oh, wow. That is a strong punch. Yeah, that shot is not any easier.
I'm trying to shot now. Man, this sidecar.
That went down a lot easier.
I don't know, man.
I don't know if it was because I tried the shot first. Shot had a great flavor. I really liked that. You said not to keep it in, but now I'm thinking...
It went down smooth. And which cannot be said for a lot of liquors.
A lot of liquor.
But cognac is a form of brandy, and it's basically from France. And when you think cognac, you might automatically think Hennessy. Hennessy is a cognac. It's probably the most,
Cognac.
visual...
That's what you think
American cognac.
Which I've never had Hennessy, so...
Oh, me neither. But it's like, if I were to say, Hennessy, it's a cognac.
That's a cognac. Okay.
It's
didn't know that it was a cognac, so I'm learning something new.
Yeah, and there's different versions. There's VS, VSOP, VXO.
Which the one we are trying is a VSOP. I may actually start ordering this. This is something that I would order. This is a really good drink. Yeah. I'm kind of happy that I asked to be on this episode that I'm co-hosting.
VSOP stands for Very Superior Old Pale. These are created from, French. ODV, aged for at least 4 years. The VSPO, the VSOP category, includes distinctions such as old or reserved.
Which both of the big bottles that we borrowed are both VSOPs.
Which basically refers to the age and the quality of the cognac, how long that the brandy / cognac is aged in an oak barrel. Sounds pretty nice.
That's interesting.
There's a whole, just like there's regulations for Scotch, whiskeys, and everything else.
Sort of brandings.
Yeah, there's a Bureau National Interprofessionnel du Cognac. The French government drafted regulations.
So, all right. So what she's basically saying is that a cognac is in the same sense as champagne. Champagne is only champagne when it is made in Champagne, France. Cognac is only called a cognac when it is made in Cognac, France. This is a very location-specific drink to be made. It's barreled and made in that specific location.
Yeah, and basically the letters are saying, rather than just saying age 6 years, age 15 years,
it's a special designation.
Yeah, they're categorized in saying the specific.
Which I think is better, honestly.
Yeah, it adds to
sophisticatedness.
Yeah, it really does. And Cognac, your dad was just telling us there's a new tariff.
There's a higher tax due on French products. Cognacs are very hard to find in America right now.
Yes,
or in Louisiana in general.
And if you do find them, they're going to be way more expensive. What are we rating this Celt?
10.
10?
10. That is a superior drink.
Much like the the Cognac.
The Cognac.
Very superior.
Very superior. Well, okay, so 10 is a very specific rating. I'd probably give it a 9.5. It has a very good flavor, a very good profile. It smells great. It looks classy.
It's not super sweet, but
no, but it definitely is. It's a very good mixture, a very great cocktail.
And there's also sugar on the rim, so that also helps with the sugariness of it. But
it sweetens it up just a hair.
And the orange
does a lot.
It feels like a light mimosa. This gives me
mimosa feelings.
Mimosa vibes. While there is just the orange peel because of the sugariness and the sweetness from both the sugar and the orange naturally, it gives me mimosa brunch vibes.
Very brunchy. Very something that you could have with your breakfast. So you have a nice big waffle. Mimosa. There we go. So if you don't want a mimosa, this would probably be your next go-to.
Yeah.
If they have it in the restaurant, bar, food place, anywhere.
And it seems simple enough
that they would have the ingredients for it.
Yeah, there's only 3 ingredients. And do we even count lemon juice?
Yes. I don't taste the lemons, but I got a feeling it does.
I think the citrus.
So it's an orange liqueur, so it has that orange taste. But I think the citrus from the lemon makes the difference compared to the liqueur. So liqueur has the flavor of the orange, whereas the lemon juice has the citrus that you need for this drink, which makes it, honestly, a great drink.
For the orange liqueur, we're using Grand Marnier. It is made with cognac and an orange liqueur. Made from Paris, 40% alcohol volume.
I really like it. I'm sticking to my 9.5.
And honestly, what makes a 10?
Preference.
Yeah, I think a 10 for me would be something that I'm like, oh, if this is on the menu,
I'm getting again.
I have to get it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that.
This sidecar, because I know what it tastes like, I'm not dying to retaste, but I know that this is a really good choice to make.
If my favorite drink's not on the menu and I see this on the menu, I'm on it. Unless I see something better. This I would order again.
Grand Marnier specifically says, into grand cocktails such as a grand sidecar, but also shines on its own neat on the rocks, with a historical link to Cognac region where it is manufactured and into Paris headquarters. Grand Marnier has been a landmark of French style around the world for over 100 years. And I think this is something you could put on the rocks, but I think that Grand Marnier is so expensive that you should.
By itself, is what you're saying.
Yeah. If you're drinking this by itself on the rocks.
So, cognac, I could see drinking by itself.
Yeah.
That, there's certain drinks that belong by itself. There's certain drinks that belong only being mixed. And this just so happens to be a Grand Marnier. How do you say
Grand
it?
Marnier?
Grand Marnier? Marnier.
Should we ask you?
Yes. I know it's Grand Marnier. Grand Marnier. Sounds right.
Grand Marnier.
Marnier. I give this specific sidecar for the Celt. I don't know why I want to say kettle.
Because it sounds so close. It's kettle, Celt.
But it's also French, so
it's Celt. Just Celt.
Celt.
K-E-L-T. Celt.
I give it a high 8. It's a little too sweet.
For your tasting.
For my tasting, because usually, even with margaritas, I don't get anything on the rim. Salt or sugar.
That is true.
I might do this. If I'm doing this at home, I would do a half rim. Just if I want to switch it up with each taste.
Well, I think, so with this rim, we did it kind of weird. It's not a normal rim. We did a very heavy rim. That's just because of the circumstance we did it in. No, maybe, no. I think he did them all the same way. So
yeah.
But I think a proper rim coating would be...
only on the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas that one was all around. So next, we're moving to the Reservoir. I'm gonna try the Reviseur. I'm taking the glass.
Matthew's gonna. Did we clink?
No, we didn't clink. So here's the clink of the episode.
Here's the second drink of the episode.
Thank you. We're gonna put that orange peel in the drink, and there's no ice. Did he not put? He didn't put ice. But
No.
He did. It's cold.
It took some time to hit.
Another great one.
Great.
So, I don't know. Let me taste the shot.
I don't know if taking the shot before.
It helps. It helped with the first one.
Oh. That one kicks back by itself.
So the Reservoir is another VSOP.
Very special old pale.
Old pale. Wow. That one hits a lot harder than the Celt.
By itself.
Now, I do think it mixes better than the Celt. So I'd probably move the Celt down to...
I disagree. I think that...
And I moved the Reservoir up to a 9.5.
I think this one hits a little harder for me.
So you're moving it down.
Yeah, this one would be below the Celt for me. Which is weird.
Which is fine. We have different tastes. It's no big deal.
We definitely have different tastes. This one's less sweet to me.
I found that one more sweet.
You fucking around with me.
No. However, I did chew off some of the sugar on there, so I probably did a little bit.
Yeah.
So, my taste background is very high sugary.
Yeah.
I started out on rum, so sugar was my main starter for alcohol.
And I try not to add too much. I don't want to say to my diet, but anything extra I usually don't add. Except if it's ranch, then that always gets added on.
Maybe I have to go back to the Celt as being the top one.
I don't want to influence you.
No. I don't know if it was after the
That's
after
what
the shot.
After the shot, I don't know if it...
See, so before the shot, it was great. After the shot, it wasn't that great.
Yeah.
So I wonder if the shot affected it more.
Next one we'll try the cocktail
by itself,
and then we'll both try after.
But honestly, it's still a good drink. I'm kind of glad that we're doing this variety tasting. Yeah. I think this really opens up to the world of cocktails, which when you go to bars, they won't all use the same bottle, which is really very... So this is more realistic to what you'll find at a bar.
Yeah.
Bars, plural, because you go to different bars, you'll find different tastes.
And this Grand Marnier is basically an orange liqueur, but there are different orange liqueurs. There's Cointreau, which is another popular one that is used, which I think that might be more accessible in bars, Cointreau, because it's a main staple in the margarita.
Yes, so you can probably still ask for this in a classy bar. You probably won't find this in certain bars around college campuses.
But they can probably make a version.
They can make somewhat close. They'll probably have the recipe, but they probably won't know how to exactly make it.
Yeah.
Because this is...
I don't think anyone's asking for Cognac at Mike's.
Or a Sidecar.
Yeah. Oh, no.
No. So this is definitely an up-class drink.
Wait, can we find someone that works at Tigerland?
Probably. But I really like the Sidecar.
It's very orange.
It's very citrus based. Citrus flavored based. It's not... You find it overpowering, but again, we have different taste palettes, so...
The Reservoir is very harsh to me.
I don't like the shot, honestly.
Yeah, no. And it took a while for that shot to really hit.
And when we say shot, guys, we're just talking fellow peoples. Inclusive. We're being inclusive.
Yeah,
Y'all. So when we're talking about shots, y'all, we're just mentioning the glass that it's in because they are all in shot glasses, the tastings. But we're taking tiny sips to taste, which is if you're ever trying something, do small sips. Don't take big gulps.
Yeah.
Because that'll overpower you. It'll catch you off guard. Take small sips. I learned my lesson yesterday. Tasting something, I took a really big ass sip.
Yeah.
And it hurt.
I think that the second sip is going to be different anyways.
Your palate's going to adjust to that drink.
Yeah, it's gonna, the first one's going to be a shock. And the second one's like, okay, things are highlighting. So what are you rating?
So I'm
Reservier.
going to change my Reservier. I'm going to leave Celt at a 9.5. And I'm going to move the Reservier down to a 7.5. Because now the drink is still great, don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. The Reservier by itself, though, is definitely not something I would drink alone by itself. Whereas the Celt I would drink by itself.
I agree. The Celt went down a lot easier.
It tastes more floral more than anything.
The Celt?
The Celt. I got on the tongue, just right off the bat. It has a very flowery taste. It's got that very sweet, nice tone. And then as it slowly slides to the back, it heats up just a tad and then goes down smoothly. It's not a big problem. As we've said in the past, we don't like the heat too much. However, this has the perfect amount of heat. It's that Goldilocks heat.
Yeah.
It hits you,
yes.
And he's like, yes.
I completely agree with that because after trying the Celt, after the Reservier, you realize how easy it is compared. And I like that. The Sidecar was around during World War I.
Yes, and it came from... The story behind it is a very confused story, which is a lot of drinks that we tried. This was the same problem with the Tom Collins. Not a lot of people knew where it came from other than that it was a joke. Same with gin. Nobody knows where gin came from. This is the same thing. People believe it started in a hotel. People believe that it was created by a general. A soldier during World War I rode around in a sidecar, which is where it gets its name from, and created the drink.
Captain,
my bad. Yeah, I know I put the rank in there.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the big things. I mean, no lowly soldier is going to be riding in a sidecar back in World War I.
Yeah.
This was high class. Just like the drink.
High class.
I mean, being chauffeured around in a motorcycle, high class.
But how did the origin come from the Ritz Hotel then in Paris?
That goes back to the premise that drink itself is really unknown for its origin. Mm-hmm. When I was researching it, there were 3 people that wrote books. 2 of them said that it came from somewhere else. 1 of them said that it came from the captain. The original recipe, I think, came from the Ritz-Carlton. But yeah, so the origins of this drink are very mystified. Not a lot of people know. So they don't know where it came from. But it's still a good drink nonetheless.
I mean, it's very fancy.
Very fancy hotel.
Yeah, so it makes sense. I think the Sidecar could come from this.
They may have stationed there during the war.
Probably. And
he may have handed it off to a bartender, and he's like, here, make this certain drink.
And the bartender was like, oh, I'm in.
I'm gonna write this recipe down as soon as you leave.
This is my drink now. Which is very understandable. World War I. But it's made its mark in history, basically, because the Sidecar is one of those drinks that top 50, top 10 of drinks to try and know. So we're honored to try it today. Next, we have Martell.
It's a SV.
VS,
my bad. Very special.
Very special.
Is that what it means?
Yeah.
We're a bunch of children.
VS means very special. Eau de vie, at least 2 years old. And
So I find, alright, so if it's
Wait.
almost 2 years, okay, sorry.
Other demonstrators and expressions are permitted, such as 3-star or luxury, and such are included in the VS category. A lot of wacky stuff. I mean, it's not wacky.
So I'm taking back what I said, that it's easier than ranking normal alcohol, where it's like 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
Whereas this one's like, oh, it's at least 2 years.
But
And
it
it's
could
like,
be a 3-star or luxury to me.
Yeah, so, well, the problem I'm having is like, okay, you don't have an age. You just have a ranking on there, so I don't know. But we'll still try it nonetheless.
All this information is coming from the Martell website, actually, so...
Wow. Just wow.
Do you think it's because it's been sitting? This is orange juice.
Yeah, I get drunk just drinking that. If it's sat, I let it sit for 10 minutes. But I don't want to wait for that long.
Yeah, I mean, it's been about 10 minutes, over 10 minutes for sure.
But no, I think that was a very good drink.
This was the last one we've tried, so the ice has melted a little bit, but we're gonna try. Matthew's gonna be very, very careful to try it by itself. Dude, what is this?
That's this.
That's Grand Mar? Oh.
I don't like that.
We have not tasted that. Okay.
So, personally, on the tongue, it is very bitter. You hit the heat hits you. It's not as smooth as the Celt. The heat does not linger though. It kind of hits you and disappears. But the drink itself is very good. The shot itself, do not prefer.
I agree. I disagree. I think that this is close to a whiskey for me, and that's probably why.
They're all closer to whiskey.
Yeah, and that's
But
probably
they're a very
why.
floral whiskey. I was actually going to say that earlier in the episode. I'm like, this really tastes like a whiskey. I'd compare it to a whiskey.
Yeah. I like this one better than the Reservoir.
Reservoir?
Mm-hmm. I'm actually a little
What about
Cajun
the Celt?
French, so...
What about the Celt?
I do Celt,
Then the...
Martell, and then the Reservoir. That's my ranking official.
I'd do the Celt, then the Reservoir, and then the Martell.
What turns you off from...
So, the shot itself is what I was describing. But, again, the drink itself... We should have tried the Grand Marnier first. That way we know what we're tasting.
Yeah, I think the Grand Marnier is giving a lot of that orange juice. We're going to try the Grand Marnier.
It's going to suck on the tip of your tongue, but as it goes down, it's going to be smooth as hell. At the very tip of the tongue, as soon as it hits your tongue, it's nasty. And then as it goes down, it's smooth. So, I don't taste much orange with that.
I do.
You do?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, is my tongue more mature?
That, or I'm just a little bit more tipsy than you.
Probably that one.
We are not the same.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but it's a great flavor. Don't get me wrong.
On the nose, you're not smelling orange.
I'm smelling liqueur. No, like it's a very liquor-y smell. It's not a orangey smell, like you would think you would smell. You would think the orange would be predominant, and a very orange dominant drink.
I like this Grand Marnier. It is on the more expensive side of orange liqueurs because it's imported.
I still find it as it's a mixing drink. It's not a drink.
Yeah, I really wouldn't. Actually, I could have this on the rocks. I'm gonna be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Because it is cognac and orange liqueur.
Orange juice, yeah.
It's mixed already.
I guess you're right.
The sugar rim is important, though. I think it adds.
Alright, so I'm trying without the sugar rim right now. Not really. You could do without the sugar rim.
Mm-hmm.
If you really don't like rims, if you don't like flavored rims, it's fine. You don't need it for this drink. But again, I would definitely get the Celt. I'd probably find a bottle of Celt and probably keep it at my apartment.
And I got this Martell from BenQ as always. I got this in a
sample glass, really.
It's usually about an ounce, 0.7 maybe. See if it says on the back. But it's a small amount because again, I didn't want to have cognac on my shelf when I move and be one more thing. For the recipe for the sidecar, we use 1.5 ounces of cognac, 3/4 of an orange liqueur. We use Grand Marnier. You can use Cointreau or orange Curçao. 3/4 of lemon juice, sugar rim, and an orange garnish. Today we reviewed Martell Cognac,
Kettle,
and
Reservoir.
Cognac. And as always, make sure to follow us on the Anchor app if you are there. Leave a comment or question. If not, follow us on Instagram at TX Tavern Talk if you haven't already, where you can leave a question or comment, see a picture and or recipe that we've done this far on the podcast. Thank you for listening to Tavern Talk of our drink of the day, Sidecar, with multiple variations. Thank you to Matt for showing up today for work.
For a change.
As always, watch for next time where we will
excite our taste buds.
Yep.
That was better talking.
All right, take it easy.